Welcome everyone, this is Tactical Lich here, and today we have a battle between Slaanesh and Khorne in Total War Warhammer 3. For the Slaanesh army brought to you by Coops, who also sent in this replay, we have a rather narrow build with a front line of Marauders with Hell Scourges only, backed up by Exalted Daemonettes, one of them the Bringers of Beguilement. Further back, we have a couple spawns of Slaanesh. They actually synergize with the Exalted Daemonettes really well with their Soporific Musk, lowering the melee stats of their opponent, allowing the Slaanesh demons to do a little bit more damage in melee. For leadership, we have the support of some cultists as well as the Herald of Slaanesh, bringing in a lot of supporting abilities and spell, including the Locust of Grace, providing a bit more tankiness to the Slaanesh infantry, and then the Portoglyph for those extra bodies in the form of Chaos Furies, Acquiescence, lowering the melee stats of the Cornet Tin Cans, and also Pavane of Slaanesh for that direct damage, and more importantly, the Rampage effect. Last but not least, we have the Slicing Shards, a beautiful spell, also a lot of armor piercing coming in, great for tearing apart the Cornet Tin Cans. In the skies, we have some mobility in the form of Chaos Furies of Slaanesh, and hiding in the forest, we have the Eternal Entourage, the elite regiment of renowned Heartseekers of Slaanesh. On the other side of the battlefield, with Son of Kirin leading the Khorne army, they're employing a Tin Can frontline with a mix of dual weapon, Khorne Berserkers, and also Halberds. At the back, a single unit of Exalted Bloodletters in the form of Hellforged Host, Regiment of Renowned Super Elite, and also a whole lot of mobility. 4 Fleshhounds, in fact, they're extremely useful in tearing apart the Slaanesh mobility if they can get the charge, due to their high weapon strength and also the paper-thin armor on the Slaanesh roster. In the skies, we have a single unit of Chaos Furies, and that's basically it for the troops of Khorne. For the leadership, we have a Blood Reaper, not exactly the most common pick here, but the one ability or item here, I forgot which is it, the Locust of Abjuration. Spell resistance plus 66% would be really useful in tanking some of the possible spells from Slaanesh, and in this battle it would be the Slicing Shard, and we'll see if it's actually useful in this game. For the Lord, we have a Herald of Khorne on the Khorne Bloodbike, providing a bunch of melee attack buffs to the surrounding troops, as well as a whole bunch of anti-infantry damage. Now that's basically for the army builds. Now let's get the battle rolling. Without any missiles or artillery, both armies are going full melee straight into each other's front line. The Marauders of Slaanesh are bringing Hell Scourges, so that gives them a little bit more melee defense, helping them to hold out a little bit longer against these Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons, allowing the follow-up from all these Daemonettes as well as the spawns of Slaanesh to do the damage they need to bring down the elite tin cans of the Cornet roster. And as you can see here, the impact damage from the Bringers of Beguilement really burst down these Chaos Warriors of Khorne with the help of the spawns of Slaanesh, using the Soporific Musk to debuff their melee stats, allowing the Slaanesh troops to fight a little bit more effective against the Cornet Tin Cans. Same goes for the other Berserkers being attacked by the Exalted Daemonettes, but they're now targeted by the Herald of Khorne on the Bloodbike. Thanks to the Horn of Khorne buffing up those melee attack, Exalted Daemonettes were taking massive damage from the counter punch from all these Cornet units, and on the other side things are not looking too well, as the Marauders have been broken apart by the Berserkers with their brute strength. With the flank collapsing, the Cornet Warriors are pushing forward, hoping to envelop the main forces in the middle. At this point, there are some Summon Furies dropping in, pinning down these Chaos Warriors of Khorne, allowing the Bringers of Beguilement to do a little bit more damage to these Hellforged Hosts, a super elite anti-infantry demon infantry unit. They will be a tough nut to crack, and the Bringers of Beguilement, being elites themselves, will be tasked with dealing with the enemy regiment of renown. On the side, the Cornet troops are making a lot of headway here, punching through the remaining units of the Slaanesh infantry, using the Khorne dogs to chase down all those routing Marauders, since Slaanesh did not bring enough mobility to deal with all those bloody doggos. There are also some Chaos Warriors over chasing here, attempting to fend off all these Eternal Entourage, but unfortunately they're way too slow here. Only the Fleshhounds were barely able to keep up, but now receiving a counter charge from the Eternal Entourage, they will be suffering massive losses as well. Over here, there is a bombardment. The mirror shattered into the formations of these Halberd Warriors, doing massive armor-piercing damage, and the Blood Reaper was not exactly in position to provide that Locust of Abjuration, so they will be taking a lot of losses over here, possibly being routed. by the charges from the Eternal Entourage. While in the middle, the Bringers of Beguilement are almost successful in bringing down the Hellforge host, but the melee stats of these Chaos Warriors and the Hellforge host is just simply too much, and the Bringers of Beguilement will be overloaded by a whole bunch of tin cans and also the Exalted Bloodletters. They'll be disappearing back into the warp, but not before taking heavy toll from their opponents. This leaves only the depleted spawns to hold back this tide of Chaos Warriors, and they won't be holding for long. More bad news is that the Blood Reaper is dueling the Cultists of Slaanesh. Blood Reaper, being Khorne's demon champions, does not fear this mere mortal, beating down the Cultists of Slaanesh with this anti-infantry attack. On the far side, some Chaos Warriors are being chased down by the Eternal Entourage. And the Herald of Slaanesh, due to being so healthy, while the Blood Bike was unfortunately focused down by a combination of the Herald and the Cultists, Khorne has lost their leader and an important source of combat buffs, leaving only a huge blob of cornered infantry trying to fend off the Slaanesh cunning flanking charges. Now let's fast forward a bit as both armies are just trying to maneuver, but now another Shattered Mirror dropping onto this huge blob of cornered tin cans, but a very timely locus of Abjuration, providing that 66% spell resistance, basically shielded them from most of that damage, allowing the cornered army to have a bit more of a fighting chance instead of being wiped out by a single spell. Now they will be pushing for the Eternal Entourage, who is chasing after some Fleshhounds of Khorne. They will be running them over, but not without taking massive damage from the magic attacks and huge weapon strength on all these cornered doggos. Right behind them, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are hot in pursuit, trying to catch up, but unfortunately they're just simply too slow. They'll be quickly bailing out, and the cornered warriors can do nothing but give up that chase. Instead, they'll have to face down this Cultist of Slaanesh, who is being thrown into the fray to fulfill that attacking role. She'll possibly be focused down by the Blood Reaper right now, especially when the Blood Reaper will be rampaging into the Cultist of Slaanesh, while the Eternal Entourage trying for the cheeky charge into the backs of these Chaos Warriors. But now with the Horn of Khorne active, buffing up their melee attack, they want to get out of here as soon as possible, allowing the Marauders of Slaanesh to take the charge and then use those Eternal Entourage to charge from the back. The Herald of Slaanesh will also be avoiding these anti-large infantry circling around, aiming for a more favorable engagement. Unfortunately for the Slaanesh army, the Blood Reaper has finished off the Cultists, but now the Herald of Slaanesh has her eyes on this Blood Reaper, charging straight in using that charge bonus to finish off the remaining leadership of the cornered army, while the Eternal Entourage will be running down some straggled units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne. And at this point, the balance of power is dominantly in favor of the Slaanesh army thanks to the really healthy Herald of Slaanesh. The Heartseekers charges in, blowing up the warriors, allowing another attempt of slicing shots. But once again, a really timely locus of Abjuration shielding the cornered infantry from the damage, but still, 1/3 of that damage went through, triggering army losses for Khorne. Khorne probably still has a chance, but unfortunately, their leadership is just extremely low in health, and as a result, Slaanesh dominated the balance of power, and victory shall belong to she who thirsts. In this battle, both players have some great plays here. For the Slaanesh army led by Koops, there is a great combo of unit synergy. Using the Marauders of Slaanesh, their Hell Scourges give them extra melee defense, allowing them to absorb the charge of all these Chaos Warriors with dual weapons, shielding the paper-thin armor Daemonettes from the charge impact damage. And then the Daemonettes with their armor piercing will be charging in, doing the damage against all these cornered tin cans with the support from the soporific musk from all these spawns of Slaanesh. This brilliant unit combo allows the Slaanesh army, who does not exactly excel at head-on engagement, going toe-to-toe against these cornered warriors in a frontal engagement. For the damage values, you can see that the Bringers of Beguilement as well as the Exalted Daemonettes both did some amazing job against the cornered tin cans, and the spawns as well doing some decent damage. As for the Marauders, their main purpose was basically to hold back enemy units, so mostly they were just taking damage instead of doing any. As for the mobility, the Chaos Furies, they are not exactly great here because the Chaos Furies of Khorne basically can win against them in a head-on engagement, though the Eternal Entourage, running down all the routing Chaos Warriors, did some pretty solid damage to the cornered army, As for the Slaanesh heroes, the Cultists of Slaanesh didn't really get a good engagement here, but the Herald of Slaanesh, the slicing shards as well as sniping out the Herald of Khorne, allowed her to get some decent value overall. Now for the Khorned army controlled by Son of Kirin, the best play of the game was definitely using the Blood Reaper, the Locust of Abjuration here, mitigating all the slicing shard damage, which is exactly what inspired me to go on using these Blood Reapers instead of Cultists of Khorne in multiple battles, and in turn leading to the creation of the short video a few days ago. Honestly, I feel that the Blood Reaper really is an underrated hero, as the spell resistance can help out against a lot of engagements, including Stream of Corruption from the Nurgle army, Talons of the Night as well as Final Transmutation from Cathay, and also the Warbear Bombardment spell from the Kislev army. For the rest of the army, we have some Khorned warriors doing some solid damage against the Slaanesh army thanks to their heavy armor mitigating the damage from the spawns as well as the marauders. And the Khorned halberds, one of them went for a wild goose chase, basically wasted for the entire game and did only minimal damage. I feel like they still stand a chance, but unfortunately the balance of power decided that they had to break from army losses. For the mobility, the Fleshhound spam, doing some okay damage from running down a lot of the routing Slaanesh units, but unfortunately the Eternal Entourage are just great and charging down all these Fleshhounds due to their low armor and also the impressive offensive stats on the regiment of renowned Heartseekers. As for the Furies, they don't exactly have a lot of great engagements here, so they basically wiped out the Slaanesh Furies, and once they get into engagement on the ground, they got wiped out instead. For the leadership and the Hellforge host, the Hellforge host did not do a lot of good damage fighting against the unarmored Bringers of Beguilement, who have impressive melee defense stats as well. The Blood Reaper did some solid damage against the Cultists, but the Herald of Khorne got sniped out by a combination of the Cultists and the Herald of Slaanesh. And yeah, that's basically it for today's battle. Big thanks to Koops for sending in this replay, and GG to both players. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, remember to hit the like and subscribe down below to check out more videos. I'll be covering more battle replays like this one, wild army builds, and also tips and strategies for Total War Warhammer multiplayer. And if you have any replays you want to showcase, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay file attached. I'll be sure to check them out. And yeah, that's basically it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.